They will tell you to care, to give, to spread yourself thin across the endless needs of others. They whisper about selflessness as if it were a virtue, but it is a trap designed to keep you docile, compliant, weak. They want you drained of your fire, distracted by trivialities, enslaved by obligations that lead nowhere. But here is the truth that Machiavelli understood, the truth buried deep in the art of power. The more you focus on yourself, the stronger you become. This is the hidden law, the law of kings, conquerors, and untouchable men. Power is not handed down. It is not granted through approval or applause. It is cultivated in silence, in solitude, in the cold hours when no one is watching you, when no one even cares. Power is a seed you water with discipline and protect with ruthless focus, and every ounce of attention you squander on others' chaos is an ounce of your own strength abandoned. Ask yourself, how much of your life force has been drained by meaningless conversations, by useless obligations, by the endless performance of pretending to care? Every second you invest in gossip, in validation, in clinging to others, you are sharpening their blade, not yours. But when you cut those ties, when you withdraw your energy and turn it inward, you begin to transform. Your body hardens, your mind sharpens, your will becomes unshakable. Suddenly, you are no longer moved by cheap distractions or shallow approval. You stand still while others tremble. This is self-focus. This is the foundation of untouchable strength. Your focus is your weapon. It is the most precious currency you will ever own. Guard it like a king guards his throne, like a general guards his army. Give it only to what makes you stronger, colder, more formidable. Every distraction you kill, every weakness you deny, every indulgence you burn, that is another brick laid in your fortress of power. And once you have built that fortress, no one can storm it. Comment below. My focus is untouchable. Speak it, own it, engrave it into your mind. Because the moment you claim those words, you step across the threshold. You are no longer just existing, you are rising, and the world will feel the weight of that rise. Number 1, the fortress within. When you stop scattering your energy outward, something remarkable happens. You begin to build a fortress inside yourself. Every action, every thought, every choice becomes a stone laid in its walls. Discipline sharpens the edges. Patience strengthens the foundation, and soon what once felt fragile becomes unbreakable. You stop waiting for the world to hand you approval because you no longer need it. The fortress is yours. It protects you. It sustains you. Improvement is not about flashy displays or chasing admiration. Improvement is about becoming so steady, so refined, that nothing outside of you can shake your core. You train not to impress, but to dominate yourself. You study not to show off, but to elevate your understanding. You build your body, your craft, your mind, not because anyone demanded it, but because you demanded it of yourself. That is the highest form of power, self-command. Understand this. True strength is cold clarity. It is the ability to wake up each day and know exactly where your energy belongs. It belongs to the work. It belongs to your growth. It belongs to the legacy you are forging. Every wasted moment is a brick missing from your fortress, but every disciplined moment is a weapon sharpened, a wall reinforced. This is not about comparison. It is not about measuring yourself against another man's path. It is about becoming so focused on your own evolution that no one else even exists in your vision. You are not in competition. You are in construction, and the structure you are building is you. Comment below. I am building my fortress. Write it, claim it. Because the more you reinforce this mindset, the more unshakable you become. And when the storms come, as they always do, you will not crumble. You will stand. You will endure. You will rise. Number 2, the discipline of silence. Power grows in silence, not in noise, not in endless chatter. They teach you to talk constantly, to broadcast every thought, to share every feeling as if volume equals value. But true strength does not announce itself. True strength does not scream for attention. It waits, it sharpens, it prepares. A man who is disciplined in silence never needs to prove who he is. He never needs to shout to be heard. His very presence, sharpened by restraint, commands the space around him. Silence is not emptiness, it is focus. It is a weapon, and most men are too careless to wield it. When you master silence, you pull your energy inward. You stop scattering it across meaningless conversations. You stop pouring it into arguments that lead nowhere. You stop wasting it on explanations that only dilute your power. Instead, you use it to refine yourself. In silence, you train harder. In silence, you think deeper. In silence, you become someone who no longer needs external validation because your validation is forged in discipline. Look at history's most powerful figures, the men who ruled, the men who conquered, the men who carved their names into eternity. They understood the value of silence. They spoke less and acted more. They chose words with precision, like weapons. And when they finally broke their silence, the world listened. That is the essence of command, not quantity of words, but the weight behind them. Understand this clearly. Noise is weakness. Noise is the desperate cry of men who want to be noticed. Silence, on the other hand, is command. Silence makes others lean closer. It makes them wonder what you are thinking, what you are planning, what you are capable of. That mystery is power. Mystery draws respect. Mystery creates tension. And tension, when controlled, bends the world to your will. Think of your silence as armor. Every time you withhold a careless word, you strengthen that armor. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, you sharpen your edge. The man who cannot control his tongue cannot control his destiny. But the man who rules his silence, he rules himself. And self-rule is the foundation of all power. This does not mean muting your voice forever. It means knowing when to speak and when to withhold. It means understanding that words should be chosen, not spilled. A disciplined man speaks rarely, but when he does, his words pierce through doubt and resistance like a blade. Why? Because those words are backed by silence, by clarity, by the weight of action. This practice has another effect: respect. People respect the man who does not reveal everything. They respect the man who doesn't chatter, who doesn't beg to be understood. Because deep down, everyone senses it. A silent man is dangerous. A silent man sees more than he says. A silent man is unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. But here's the key. This is not about manipulation, not about trickery. This is about improvement. Your silence is your training ground. Your silence is where you cultivate discipline. Your silence is where you learn to master your impulses, where you learn to conserve energy for what truly matters. When you practice silence, you redirect your focus into your growth. You are no longer reacting to the world, you are constructing yourself. And when the storms of life come, and they will, your silence will be your anchor. When others panic, you will stay still. When others shout, you will remain calm. And that calmness, that cold clarity, will give you the edge to act with precision while others fall apart. That is the hidden gift of silence, control. So train it. Train your silence like a muscle. Start with moments, a pause before you speak, a withheld opinion that adds nothing, a refusal to explain yourself where explanation is unnecessary. Each of these moments reinforces your fortress. Each of these moments builds the habit of command. Soon, silence will no longer feel like restraint. It will feel like power. You will see how much stronger you feel when you do not waste yourself on noise. You will feel the weight of your words increase. You will feel the respect of others rise, not because you asked for it, but because you commanded it through presence, through discipline, through silence. Remember this: noise is forgettable, silence is unforgettable. The loud man is ignored the moment he stops shouting. The silent man is remembered long after he has left the room. Become that man. Become the one whose silence shakes the air more than another's shouting ever could. Comment below. My silence has power. Write it, claim it, repeat it until it becomes a part of your core. Because once you internalize this truth, you will no longer need to chase power. You will carry it with you. You will not need to announce yourself. The world will announce you. And in that moment, you will have stepped into a higher form of control, a form few ever reach. Number 3, the weight of discipline. Strength is not born from motivation. Strength is born from discipline. Motivation is a spark. It burns bright for a moment, then vanishes with the first gust of resistance. Discipline is the fire that endures. It survives storms, it survives failure, it survives fatigue. Discipline is the quiet law that keeps you moving when everything else inside you screams to stop. Discipline is not punishment, it is liberation. Most men believe freedom means doing whatever they want, whenever they want. But that is not freedom. That is slavery to impulse. A man who cannot control himself is ruled by cravings, by distractions, by the endless pull of comfort. He is not free, he is shackled. The disciplined man, however, is different. He binds himself, yes, but he chooses his chains. He ties himself to the laws of consistency, to the rules of focus, to the habits that make him stronger. His chains do not weaken him, they forge him, they free him from chaos, they make him unstoppable. You must understand this. Discipline is a currency. Every act of discipline is like a coin deposited into a vault. One workout may seem small. 1 hour of study may feel insignificant. 1 day of restraint may appear meaningless. But over time, those coins stack, the vault fills. And what once looked like nothing becomes an empire of strength, intelligence, and resilience. That is the compound interest of discipline. The man who commits to it daily cannot be overtaken, because every year his vault grows heavier, while the undisciplined man wastes his wealth on empty indulgence. Discipline transforms. It is the chisel and hammer with which you sculpt yourself. Every rep, every early morning, every sacrifice, these are the strikes that carve weakness into strength, hesitation into courage, doubt into certainty. Without discipline, potential rots. With discipline, even the smallest spark of ability can be molded into mastery. Think of discipline as law, not a law imposed by others, but one written by your own hand. Once you write that law, you must obey it, because if you cannot enforce your own laws upon yourself, you will always be ruled by the laws of another. A man who does not command himself is commanded by the world. But the man who is disciplined, who governs his own instincts with precision, becomes untouchable. He no longer bends to every distraction. He no longer submits to weakness. He stands as his own authority. Every man faces the same question. Will I be ruled by my impulses or by my discipline? That choice decides everything. The man who chooses impulse will find himself forever running in circles, starting strong, quitting early, never reaching the heights he dreams of. The man who chooses discipline, however, builds steadily, relentlessly, until one day he looks around and realizes he has become the fortress others lean on, the force others cannot move. Do not mistake this path for one of grand gestures. Discipline is not about heroic moments. It is about small, repeated choices. The choice to rise when the alarm sounds instead of drifting back into weakness. The choice to train when fatigue whispers excuses. The choice to focus when distraction tempts you. Each choice is small. Each choice feels unremarkable. But stacked together, these choices harden into destiny. Comfort will always call to you. It will whisper sweet lies. Rest a little longer. Skip this one time. You deserve to relax. Comfort is the most dangerous enemy because it does not look like an enemy. It looks like kindness, but its kindness is poison. It steals strength quietly, leaving you soft, leaving you fragile. Discipline is harsher. It demands effort. It requires sacrifice. It often feels merciless, but its cruelty is sacred because behind its hard edge lies freedom. Behind its pain lies strength. Behind its demands lies the man you are meant to become. Remember this: the disciplined man is never at the mercy of the world. He is never swayed by moods, by excuses, by weakness. He is anchored by his own laws. When others waver, he remains steady. When others quit, he continues. And in the long game of life, that steadiness wins every time. So make discipline your ally. Bind yourself to it. Honor it. Protect it. Discipline will not betray you. It will not abandon you. It will not leave you empty. It will shape you into something unshakable. Comment below, "My discipline is my power." Say it, write it, declare it. Let it carve itself into your mind. Because when you make discipline your creed, you carry the weight of true strength. You no longer beg for power, you embody it. You no longer chase freedom, you live it. And when the world looks at you, it will not see a man of chance. It will see a man of law, a man of discipline, a man of power. Number 4, the precision of time. Time is the one resource no man can buy back. Gold can be regained, power can be rebuilt, reputation can be restored. But once a single hour is gone, it is gone forever. Every tick of the clock is a reminder that your life is finite, your chances limited, your moments numbered. The strongest men know this truth, and they guard their time with ruthless precision. They do not waste it on shallow distractions. They do not scatter it across meaningless tasks. They treat time as a weapon, a tool, a kingdom in itself. Every day is a battlefield. From the moment you wake, the world begins clawing at your hours. Notifications, temptations, obligations, they all conspire to drain the strength of your focus. Most men surrender. They give away their time like it has no value, spending hours in distraction as if those hours were infinite. But the man who understands power, he does not surrender. He cuts away what does not serve him. He builds barriers around his time the same way a fortress builds walls against invasion. The truth is simple. The man who controls his time controls his life. Time is life. Wasted time is wasted life. Used time is forged power. That is why discipline without time control is incomplete. You can be disciplined in your effort, but if your time is stolen by triviality, your effort is diluted. Every hour must be claimed, directed, and sharpened toward your growth. Here is the cold reality. Most people live in reaction. They wake up and respond to everything the world throws at them. Messages, requests, obligations. They let the world dictate the pace of their day. But you cannot afford that. You must live in command. Your time must be shaped by you, not pulled apart by others. Commanding your time means commanding your life. Understand this. Saying yes too freely is weakness. Every yes you give is time stolen from yourself. Every yes is a piece of your life handed away. Learn to say no. Cold, sharp, unapologetic. Because every no to distraction is a yes to power. Every no to waste is a yes to mastery. The world may resist, people may complain, but power is never gained by pleasing everyone. Power is gained by guarding what is yours, and your time is yours. Think of your time as a blade. If you swing it carelessly, it dulls and shatters. But if you sharpen it with focus and wield it with precision, it cuts through obstacles with ease. That is the law of time. The sharpest weapon or the deadliest weakness. The choice is yours. The Machiavellian truth is this: your time is not just your own. It is currency in the eyes of others. Everyone wants to spend it. Employers, friends, even strangers. They all want to take from your hours. And if you do not guard it, they will consume it until nothing remains for yourself. This is why powerful men are scarce with their time. They do not attend every event. They do not answer every call. They do not open themselves to every demand. They understand that scarcity creates value and their time is priceless. To control your time is also to control perception. When you are not always available, when your hours are clearly guarded, people begin to value your presence more. They begin to respect your boundaries. They sense that you are not easily moved, not easily bent, and that respect reinforces your position. By guarding your time, you not only strengthen yourself, you command the respect of others. But let us be clear, this is not about hoarding hours selfishly. It is about directing them with precision. Every man has 24 hours, but only a few use them with intent. Most scatter them, chasing nothing. The disciplined man builds structure. He defines where his hours go, training, learning, building, resting with purpose, not idleness. He shapes his time into a weapon, and with that weapon, he cuts his path forward. Ask yourself, how many hours have you lost to distractions that left you weaker? How many days have you wasted in cycles of indulgence that gave you nothing in return? Now imagine if every one of those hours had been used to sharpen your mind, your body, your craft. Imagine the fortress you could have built. That vision is not fantasy. It is what discipline with time creates. Guard your time with the same intensity you would guard a treasure chest overflowing with gold, because it is more valuable than gold. With gold, you can buy things. With time, you can create empires. With time, you can forge yourself into a weapon. With time, you can become untouchable. Waste it, and all of that vanishes. Protect it, and all of it becomes possible. Here is the final truth. Your relationship with time defines your destiny. The man who treats his time as infinite dies with regret. The man who treats his time as sacred dies with power. Every tick of the clock is a reminder. Your time is leaving you. The question is, are you leaving it unused, or are you forging it into strength? Comment below, "My time is sacred." Declare it, write it, let it burn into your mind. Because once you see your time as sacred, you stop giving it away cheaply. You stop bending to triviality. You begin to live with an intensity that others cannot match. And that intensity is the difference between a man who drifts and a man who dominates. Number 5, the power of emotional control. Emotions are fire. Fire can warm you, forge steel, and light the path ahead. But fire can also consume, burn, and reduce everything you've built into ashes if you allow it to rage unchecked. The difference between the strong and the weak is not whether they feel emotion, it's whether they command it. Every man feels anger, fear, desire, and sorrow. But the man who cannot master his emotions is at the mercy of storms he cannot control. The man who rules his emotions, however, is untouchable. Understand this clearly. The world will test you. It will not ask for permission. It will strike without warning. People will provoke you. Circumstances will frustrate you. Life will throw chaos into your path. Most men react. They snap in anger. They drown in sadness. They crumble under pressure. But you cannot afford that. Not if you want to rise. The man who seeks power must respond, not react. He must turn emotion into fuel, not chains. Emotional control is not suppression. It is transformation. It is alchemy, the art of taking raw, chaotic energy and forging it into power. Anger becomes determination. Pain becomes discipline. Fear becomes vigilance. Even desire, if controlled, becomes drive. But uncontrolled, these same emotions are poison. Anger becomes destruction. Pain becomes weakness. Fear becomes paralysis. Desire becomes slavery. You must decide. Will you be forged by your fire or consumed by it? Stoicism is the foundation. Stoicism is not coldness for the sake of coldness. It is not pretending you feel nothing. It is the discipline of being unshakable. When the world spins out of control, when others break under the weight of emotion, you remain steady. That calmness is not weakness, it is command. The man who can face anger without lashing out, fear without retreating, pain without collapsing, that man is a fortress. Think about the rooms you've walked into. One man is loud, emotional, frantic. His words scatter. His presence weakens with every outburst. Another man is calm, composed, measured. He speaks less, but every word carries weight. Which one commands respect? Which one draws others in? Which one carries silent authority? Power does not come from noise, it comes from command. And command begins with emotional mastery. Here's the truth. You cannot stop emotions from arising. You will feel them, but you can control what they become. That control begins with awareness. You must learn to observe your emotions before acting on them. Anger flares. Pause. Do not let it drag you into blind reaction. Breathe. Redirect that energy into your work, your training, your discipline. Pain hits, pause. Let it become fuel to grow sharper, stronger, colder. Fear appears. Do not deny it. Use it. Let fear sharpen your awareness, heighten your focus, prepare you for the challenge ahead. This is the gap, the sacred pause between stimulus and response. Most men live without it. Something happens. They react instantly, like puppets pulled by strings. But the man who builds the gap is free. He is no longer a slave to the moment. He is a ruler of the moment. And in that space, in that pause, lies his power. Practice is everything. Emotional control is not forged in one day, nor in one great battle. It is built in the small moments, in the trials of daily life. Someone insults you. Do you lash out, or do you stay calm? Something frustrates you. Do you collapse into complaints, or do you press forward? Fear whispers. Do you retreat, or do you step with precision? Each of these small victories builds your fortress. Each time you hold the line, you grow stronger, and slowly your emotions become your servants, not your masters. And here lies the hidden truth. Emotional control does not make you less human. It makes you more powerful. It gives your emotions purpose. A man who suppresses his anger becomes brittle. A man who channels it into progress becomes unstoppable. A man who drowns in pain is broken. A man who uses pain as fuel becomes resilient. A man who is enslaved by fear shrinks. A man who bends fear into focus sees everything clearly. This is transformation. This is power. Consider how rare this is. Most men are ruled by impulse. They justify it. They even glorify it. I just say what I feel. I can't help it. That's just who I am. But those words reveal slavery. The free man, the powerful man, does not excuse weakness. He shapes it into strength. He does not explain away his fire. He commands it. And because this discipline is rare, it sets him apart. It makes him the man others cannot shake. Imagine yourself walking through life with this power. Others panic, you remain calm. Others lose control, you stay centered. Others collapse under the weight of storms, but you hold steady, eyes sharp, spirit unbroken. Who do you think people will trust? Who do you think people will follow? Who do you think will rise? The man who controls himself is the man others cannot ignore. Emotional control is the invisible crown. It is the mark of command. It cannot be stolen, cannot be faked, cannot be handed down. It must be earned. And once you earn it, it never leaves you. It becomes a part of your presence, your aura, your identity. People will feel it before you speak. They will sense it before you act. They will know, this is a man who cannot be shaken. Comment below, I command my emotions. Declare it, claim it, engrave it into your mind. Because once you stop being ruled by your emotions and start ruling them, you ascend. You are no longer a prisoner of storms. You become the storm itself, and that, above all, is what makes you untouchable. Number 6, the strength of solitude. They fear being alone. They run from silence, from emptiness, from solitude. They fill every gap with noise, with company, with distractions. They need constant stimulation because they cannot bear to face themselves. But solitude is not weakness, it is strength. Solitude is the forge where men are remade, where clarity is sharpened, where power is born. When you strip away the noise, when you remove the constant pull of others, you are left with the raw truth of yourself. Most men cannot face that truth. They hide from it in endless conversations, entertainment, and social validation. But the man who embraces solitude learns something rare. He learns to be enough for himself. And once you no longer need the world to fill your emptiness, you become dangerous. Solitude is not isolation. It is refinement. In solitude, you are not abandoned. You are sharpening. You are studying. You are strengthening your body, your mind, your will. Alone, you can confront your weaknesses without excuse. Alone, you can build discipline without distraction. Alone, you hear the quiet voice that guides you, the one drowned out by the crowd. Solitude is where vision takes form. Throughout history, the most formidable men understood this. Leaders, warriors, philosophers, they withdrew, not because they were broken, but because they were building. The general sharpens his strategy in solitude. The philosopher develops his wisdom in solitude. The conqueror cultivates his iron will in solitude. They knew that without solitude, they could never return to the world with the strength needed to shape it. Most men fear solitude because it exposes them, it strips away their illusions. Without noise, they realize how little discipline they have. Without company, they realize how fragile their willpower is. Without distraction, they see the emptiness inside them. But for you, solitude must become the crucible of growth. It must become the training ground where you strip away weakness and forge strength. Do not confuse solitude with loneliness. Loneliness is craving what you do not have. Solitude is mastering what you already are. Loneliness is neediness, an emptiness begging to be filled. Solitude is independence, an abundance cultivated within. Loneliness weakens. Solitude fortifies. In solitude, you no longer cling to others for validation. You validate yourself through progress. You no longer chase distraction. You sharpen your craft in silence. Embrace solitude as practice. Let it become a habit. Spend hours alone without reaching for distraction. Use that time to train, to think, to write, to plan, to build. In the beginning, it may feel uncomfortable because weakness resists being exposed. But the more you practice it, the stronger you become. Soon, solitude will not feel empty. It will feel like power. Here lies the hidden gift. When you master solitude, you become unshakable. You are no longer dependent on the crowd, on approval, on constant connection. You stand firm when others collapse into neediness. You endure silence while others drown in it. And because you thrive where others weaken, you gain an edge. You become the man others seek when storms come. You become the one they lean on because you have already leaned on yourself. Imagine walking into the world with this strength. Others fear being left alone. You welcome it. Others beg for attention. You command respect in silence. Others scatter their energy outward. You build yours inward. And when the time comes to act, you act with force, with clarity, with conviction, because you did the work in solitude. Solitude is not a punishment. It is preparation. It is not the absence of strength. It is where strength is built. It is where men break free from dependency and rise into independence. And in that independence lies power, the kind of power that makes you untouchable. Comment below, "My solitude is my strength." Write it, claim it, let it burn into your mind. Because once you master solitude, you no longer chase noise. You no longer fear silence. You no longer depend on the world to fill you. You fill yourself. And in that moment, you cross the line between ordinary and formidable. You become the man who does not just survive solitude, he thrives in it. Number 7, the ruthlessness of focus. Distraction is the great thief of power. It steals hours, it drains energy, it scatters men until they are broken into fragments of what they could have been. And here is the cold truth. A fragmented man is a powerless man. Power requires concentration. Power requires precision. Power requires ruthless focus. Every man has desires. Every man dreams of strength, wealth, respect, wisdom, freedom. But most fail because they scatter themselves. They chase 10 goals at once. They dabble here, dabble there. They start projects they never finish. They let others dictate their attention. They live in constant reaction instead of ruthless direction. And in the end, they wonder why nothing changes. They wonder why their strength never solidifies, why their fortune never grows, why their influence never expands. The answer is simple. They never focused. The ruthless man is different. He knows that to gain, he must cut away. He narrows his vision until only one path stands before him. One craft, one mission, one target. And on that path, he becomes unstoppable. His enemies cannot shake him. Temptations cannot bend him. Distractions cannot lure him. Because his focus is not casual, it is ruthless. Focus is more than attention. Focus is power. It is the difference between scattered sunlight and the concentrated beam that burns through steel. Without focus, even massive energy is wasted. With focus, even modest energy becomes lethal. That is why men of focus rise and men of distraction fade. This is Machiavelli's hidden law. The sharper your focus, the greater your power. But focus demands sacrifice. To focus on what matters, you must cut away what does not. You must learn to say no. No to shallow entertainment. No to pointless conversations. No to endless scrolling, cheap dopamine, hollow indulgence. No to obligations that do not serve your mission. Focus is ruthless because it asks you to abandon comfort, to abandon distraction, to abandon anything that weakens your aim. And most men are too soft for that sacrifice. But when you embrace this ruthlessness, your progress becomes inevitable. Every hour poured into your craft compounds. Every day of disciplined attention builds momentum. Every year of sustained focus turns you into something others cannot rival. The men who mocked your discipline will vanish into mediocrity. The ones who doubted you will bow to the results you have carved, and all of it will be traced back to one thing: your focus. Focus is not about obsession with everything. It is about obsession with the right thing. It is about knowing exactly where your energy belongs and giving it there fully, with no hesitation, no division, no weakness. And here is the secret. When you master focus in one area, that mastery bleeds into others. You become sharper in everything. Your mind learns discipline. Your body learns consistency. Your spirit learns strength. And together they form a man who is indestructible. Understand this clearly. Focus is a battlefield. From the moment you wake, everything around you fights for your attention. Notifications scream, advertisements seduce, people demand. The weak surrender instantly. They hand their focus away like beggars giving away their last coin. The strong resist. The ruthless cut it all away. They build walls around their attention like kings guard their throne. Ask yourself, how much time have you lost to distraction? How many hours slipped into nothingness because you let others dictate your attention? Now imagine if every one of those hours had been sharpened into skill, strength, strategy. Imagine the man you would already be. That man is not a fantasy. He is waiting for you on the other side of focus. Here lies the paradox. Ruthless focus looks narrow, but it creates expansion. By cutting away the trivial, you free yourself to grow into mastery. By saying no to the many, you unlock the power of the one. And mastery in one area opens doors to all others. A man who masters his focus in training builds a disciplined body. That discipline transfers to business. That business sharpens his wealth. That wealth expands his power. But it all begins with focus. Focus also builds perception. A man who is scattered is forgettable. He seems common, unremarkable, lost. A man who is focused becomes magnetic. People sense it. They feel the intensity in his eyes, the clarity in his speech, the purpose in his movements. They know he is not wasting himself, and that knowledge commands respect. Focus is silent authority. The ruthless man guards his time, but even more, he guards his focus. He refuses to dilute himself. He treats his focus as sacred ground, as territory never to be surrendered. And because he guards it, he grows while others fade. He builds while others wander. He becomes while others remain. This is the path of cold power. Ruthless focus is not comfortable. It is not indulgent. It is not easy. But it is the law of progress. Without it, you will remain scattered, fragile, forgettable. With it, you will become sharp, steady, unforgettable. Comment below, my focus is ruthless. Write it, own it, repeat it until it carves itself into your identity. Because once your focus becomes ruthless, you no longer scatter yourself across the world. You forge yourself into a weapon the world cannot resist. And that weapon, honed in silence, will cut through every barrier between you and the man you are meant to be. Number 8. The armor of detachment. Attachment weakens men. The more you cling, the more you suffer. The more you depend, the more you bleed. You cannot be free if you are chained. And here is the law. To rise, you must forge the armor of detachment. Detachment does not mean you feel nothing. It does not mean you transform into stone, lifeless and empty. It means you remain unshaken. You can enjoy success, but you do not become enslaved by it. You can value people, but you do not crumble without them. You can taste pleasure, but you do not need it to survive. Detachment is the ability to walk away from anything that no longer serves your growth, without hesitation, without collapse. That ability is rare, but it is the foundation of cold power. The man who is detached cannot be manipulated. He cannot be controlled through promises, through threats, or through the fear of loss. Why? Because he does not cling. If he must walk, he walks. If he must sacrifice, he sacrifices. If he must burn what no longer serves him, he burns it without remorse. His power is rooted in freedom, and freedom is born of detachment. Most men live chained. They cling to outcomes. They obsess over possessions. They attach themselves to people who do not strengthen them. They grip comfort, approval, routine. And because of these chains, they cannot move without fear. They cannot act without hesitation. They are constantly afraid of losing what they hold too tightly. But chains, no matter how golden, are still chains. Detachment breaks them. And in breaking them, you reclaim authority over yourself. This is not coldness for the sake of coldness. It is command. Detachment gives you clarity. When you are not blinded by desperation, you can see opportunities clearly. When you are not trembling over loss, you can make decisions with precision. Detachment makes you steady while others tremble. It allows you to navigate chaos with calmness, to act strategically instead of emotionally. That calmness is not weakness, it is power. Think about this. If someone knows what you are desperate for, they can control you. If they know you crave approval, they can manipulate you with praise and withhold it to weaken you. If they know you fear loss, they can threaten you with absence. If they know you cannot endure solitude, they can enslave you with company. But if you are detached, if you no longer cling, then no one can move you. You become untouchable. This is why great men often seem distant. It is not arrogance, it is armor. They cannot allow themselves to be enslaved by attachment, because attachment is the enemy of power. Machiavelli understood this well. He knew that the prince must remain steady, not swayed by love, not destroyed by loss, not bound by attachment. Only then could he act with clarity, with precision, with dominance. But let me make this clear. Detachment does not mean rejecting everything. It means mastering your relationship with everything. You can enjoy wealth, but you do not kneel to it. You can love deeply, but you do not lose yourself in it. You can embrace success, but you do not depend on it to feel whole. Detachment means you own everything in your life. It does not own you. Training detachment is simple, but not easy. Start small. Notice when you cling. Notice when fear of loss begins to rule you. Then step back. Breathe. Remind yourself, nothing external defines you. Your worth is not chained to outcomes. Your strength is not tied to possessions. Your identity is not dependent on others. Each time you release the grip, you grow stronger. Each time you detach, you forge another plate of armor. Detach from outcomes. Focus on the process instead. Detach from validation. Focus on self-respect instead. Detach from comfort. Focus on growth instead. With each repetition, you harden yourself. With each act of detachment, you gain freedom. And soon, you will walk through life armored, untouchable, unshaken. This does not mean you will never feel pain, never face loss, never encounter hardship. You will. But detachment means you do not collapse when they come. You endure, you adapt, you continue forward. Pain strikes, but it does not own you. Loss arrives, but it does not define you. Hardship tests you, but it does not shatter you. Detachment transforms suffering into fuel, just as silence transforms thought into power. Imagine yourself in battle, not with weapons, but with life itself. Others swing wildly, desperate to protect what they cannot lose, terrified of being struck. You, on the other hand, move with calm precision. Why? Because you fear nothing you cannot control, and you cling to nothing you cannot keep. That makes you more than steady. It makes you lethal. You strike with clarity while others stumble in panic. This is the law. The less you cling, the freer you are. The freer you are, the stronger you become. And the stronger you become, the less the world can touch you. That is detachment. That is armor. That is untouchable power. Comment below. I am untouchable. Write it. Claim it. Repeat it. Let it engrave itself into your mind. Because once you wear the armor of detachment, nothing can break you. You do not need the world to fuel you. You carry your fuel within. You do not need attachments to stand. You stand because you have become the fortress itself. And that is the ultimate form of power. Number 9. The throne of self-mastery. A man who has mastered focus, discipline, silence, solitude, detachment. He is no longer just surviving. He is no longer just moving through life blindly, tossed by the winds of circumstance. He is sitting on the throne of self-mastery. That throne cannot be inherited. It cannot be gifted. It cannot be stolen. It is carved by relentless effort, fortified by unshakable will, and defended by cold clarity. Self-mastery is the highest power because once you master yourself, no one else can rule you. They can threaten you, but you will not bend. They can tempt you, but you will not kneel. They can abandon you, but you will not break. Why? Because your roots are within. You are not swayed by noise, not enslaved by comfort, not shattered by loss. You are your own law, your own fortress, your own king. And kings do not beg, they command. Understand this. The man who does not master himself will always be ruled by something. He will be ruled by his impulses. He will be ruled by his emotions. He will be ruled by his attachments. He will be ruled by the world. But the man who masters himself is untouchable. His power flows not from what he owns, not from who praises him, not from what others think, but from himself. And power rooted in self is power that cannot be taken away. Think of self-mastery as the throne upon which all other forms of power rest. Wealth, respect, influence, legacy, all of these are unstable without it. Without self-mastery, wealth corrupts, respect fades, influence is lost, and legacy crumbles. But with self-mastery, all of these grow stronger, sharper, more enduring. Self-mastery is the root, the foundation, the throne. The throne of self-mastery is not built in a single moment of glory. It is built in silence. It is forged when you wake before dawn and discipline your body. It is forged when you study instead of wasting hours in distraction. It is forged when you sit alone in solitude and confront your weakness. It is forged when you detach from what weakens you and focus only on what strengthens you. Each decision, each act of discipline, each moment of clarity lays another stone in the throne. Slowly, it rises. Slowly, it hardens. And one day you realize you are no longer standing on the ground. You are seated above it. But here is the truth. The throne is heavy. It demands a price. To sit upon it, you must sacrifice illusions. You must burn away weakness. You must abandon the comfort of mediocrity. That is why few men ever build it. They want the rewards without the weight. They want the crown without the cost. But there is no crown without sacrifice. The throne belongs only to the man who pays the price. And what is the reward? It is not applause. It is not fame. It is not even the praise of others. The reward is command. The reward is certainty. The reward is knowing that you are no longer ruled by anything outside of you. You are steady in storms. You are calm in chaos. You are sharp in silence. That reward is priceless because it cannot be taken, cannot be stolen, cannot be destroyed. When you rule yourself, everything else bends. People respect the man who governs his own life. Opportunities seek the man who moves with discipline. Power gravitates toward the man who does not scatter himself. That is why self-mastery is Machiavelli's hidden law. It is the root of every other form of power. Without it, you will always be ruled. With it, you will always rule. Picture this clearly. A man without self-mastery is like a ship without a captain, tossed by every wave, broken by every storm. A man with self-mastery is like a fortress on the mountain, unshaken by winds, untouched by floods, unmoved by chaos. That is the throne. That is what you are building. Do not mistake this throne for something flashy. It is not decorated with noise or shallow applause. It is not gilded with the approval of others. It is built in silence, guarded by discipline, polished by focus. It is heavy, cold, and undeniable. And once you sit upon it, the world feels it. They may not understand it, but they will sense it. They will know there is something in you that cannot be shaken, cannot be moved, cannot be broken. This throne is not about arrogance. It is about authority. Authority over yourself, which then radiates outward into everything you touch. When you rule yourself, you speak differently. You move differently, you decide differently, and the world notices even if they cannot explain why. But remember this warning, the throne can be lost if you neglect it. Mastery requires maintenance, discipline must be renewed, focus must be sharpened, silence must be practiced, solitude must be embraced, detachment must be reinforced. Self-mastery is not a crown you place once and forget. It is a throne you sit upon daily, and every day you must defend it. The weak fall because they think one victory is enough. The strong endure because they know mastery is endless. And so, here is your law. Rule yourself before you seek to rule anything else. Master yourself before you seek mastery over others. Sit on the throne of self-mastery and the world will bend, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. Comment below, I rule myself. Because once you rule yourself, you are no longer a pawn. You are no longer moved by the game. You move the game itself. And that is the mark of a man who has become untouchable. Now you understand Machiavelli's hidden law. You've walked through focus, discipline, silence, solitude, detachment, and you've seen where it leads. The throne of self-mastery. This is not theory. This is not fantasy. This is law. The man who rules himself becomes untouchable, and the man who is untouchable bends the world to his will. But your journey doesn't end here. This is only the beginning. Each day ahead is another test. Each decision is another strike of the hammer against the steel of who you are becoming. Do not waste it. Do not drift back into weakness. Stay sharp, stay ruthless, stay cold, because the world respects only those who command themselves. Comment below your final declaration. I am untouchable. Write it. Claim it. Own it. Let it mark the moment you rose from listening to becoming. And now, your command. Subscribe to Sigrhythm, because this throne you are building is only the foundation. There is more to learn, more to sharpen, more to conquer. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next strike of truth. The next video will take you deeper into the psychology of cold power, so when you finish here, go watch it. Do not wait. Do not hesitate. Continue the rise, because power does not rest, and neither should you.